Good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa Arrant, and I will be your speaker today. I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank our online community for tuning in through YouTube. The 2014 movie, Kahlil Gibran's The Prophet, is a critically acclaimed animated film and an artistic masterpiece that is based upon the book, The Prophet, written by Kahlil Gibran and published in 1923. This film combines stunning animation sequences with impassioned music, voice acting, and Kahlil Gibran's own spiritually inspiring words. This is a movie about many things: grief, love, freedom, and above all, truth. Overall, it's a movie about humanity and what it means to be human. Those who have read Kahlil Gibran's The Prophet will recognize two main characters, Mustafa and Almitra, although the plot of the movie has been altered for dramatic effect. The movie begins here with a young girl, Almitra, who refuses to speak and acts out by stealing items from local vendors. We learn that she has lost her voice after the death of her father 2 years prior. Instead of speaking a human language, a language we would understand, she attempts and appears to succeed at speaking Seagull. She has a seagull companion, seen here, that follows and assists her along her journey. Almitra, who is voiced by Quiven Wallace, is a rebellious character who does things her way and is not afraid to go against the status quo. She, in essence, lives the truth she knows. As we progress through the film, we learn that Almitra has skipped school to follow her mother, Camilla, to her job. Camilla, who is voiced by actress Selma Hayek, reluctantly acquiesces due to time constraints and allows Almitra to come along. Camilla is a housekeeper for the imprisoned and housebound Mustafa. Once they arrive at Mustafa's place of imprisonment, Almitra, with the help of her seagull friend, eludes her temporary babysitter and guard Halim and sneaks into the house where she meets Mustafa, voiced by Liam Neeson.
Do I hear a mouse? Careful, little mouse. There are traps everywhere. I never get visitors. It'd be nice to have a chat, even with a mouse. Oh, where did you go? Little mouse. No, not there. Ha ha, I know. The cookie jar. Hello? No, not there either. Well, Aha, there you are. Oh, a mouse in a cage. Want a cookie, little mouse? My name's Mustafa. What's yours? Aha, Almitra. That's a pretty name. Well, Almitra, there are all kinds of cages. This house has been mine for 7 years. My crime? Poetry. Oh, the lady with the mousetraps. Quick. We prisoners have to be sneaky. know what's funny? They think I'm their prisoner, but I've flown away many times. Oh, yes. Right out that window, high above the whole island. Let me tell you a secret. We are not imprisoned by houses or our bodies, not even by other people. We are spirits, free as the wind.
In this segment, we learn that the reason for Mustafa's house arrest is his art, his poetry. Almitra discovers a friend in Mustafa, someone who listens to her silence yet treats her as an equal. We also learn that Mustafa views freedom, true freedom, as a spiritual freedom, a freedom that takes place in the mind and spirit. Unlike the original book, where the seeress Almitra prompts Al-Mustafa's verse, in this movie, Almitra is more of a listener on her own journey. She, in many ways, represents the process of grief. When we grieve, we often lack the words to express our emotions. We feel loss and emptiness, and that sometimes overpowers us. We may even do things uncharacteristic to our divine nature. We may feel that we cannot express this pain to others. However, grief is something we all endure, be it the loss of a family member, a loved one, a job, or even part of ourselves. We all in some way grieve for what appears lost to us, and it is just that, an appearance. Almitra also represents that part of us that feels stuck after a loss. We feel disconnected from the world and unable to move forward. We long for a time before this loss occurred. We long for that sense of control, that sense of permanence in an impermanent world. In our grief, we may ignore or even lash out at those who love us. We may feel we are unable to see the love around us, hear the love around us, or feel the love around us. Almitra's loss of voice doesn't just represent her grief, though. It also represents her reconnection with the love within, that innate spark of divinity within herself. In her silence, she listens to that inner voice. Personally, Almitra's journey through her grief, along with Gibran's poetry, has helped me work through my own grief with love and acceptance. In February of this year, we lost our cat of 16 years to cancer. This loss impacted me more than I expected when she was diagnosed. I knew that I grieved, but I didn't realize how much my grief affected my work, my art, my health, and those around me. Almitra's journey reminded me that I have a choice. I can either mindlessly flounder in my apparent loss, or I can allow my grief to be transformed by the love which is all around me. Almitra's journey also made me recognize my own temporary loss of expression through my painting. It was close to 3 months after our cat's death before I would pick up a paintbrush again. Birds, such as the seagull seen here, also play a prominent role in this movie. They represent transcendence, the soul, our connection to the divine, and spiritual freedom. One could interpret Almitra's communication with birds as a communication with the divine present in everything around us. After meeting Almitra, Mustafa learns that a ship has come to Orphalese to take him home. He's a free man who will be returning to his homeland, yet something is amiss. He's not allowed to take his works or his possessions with him. He's told they'll be brought down at a later time, and he's to be guarded along the entire journey. Thus, Mustafa's journey begins to the distant port below. We learn along the way that there's a conspiracy to keep him imprisoned, to keep him from boarding his ship. While his guards proclaim his physical freedom, he is not yet free. By following Mustafa, observing him and listening to his words, Almitra reconnects with love, joy, and humanity. This love transforms her grief. And along Mustafa's journey, we get many lessons on love as well. For example, we learn to love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of our souls. We also learn that works is love made visible, and that love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is enough. In unity, love is one of our 12 powers. This is our innate ability to attract and unify, to give unconditional acceptance and forgiveness, not just to others, but also to ourselves. This power is associated with the color pink and is thought to reside in our heart space. Mustafa encounters many people along his way, people celebrating marriage and love, people who work hard and put love into every single thing they do. Yet their appreciation for and love of Mustafa and his poetry is taken for rebellion. Later, when the people realize that Mustafa is not being set free, but is indeed going to be imprisoned again, they vocally and loudly express their disapproval. This leads to a riot between the guards and the people, which Mustafa attempts to quell with a poem. Mustafa is then taken inside and given a choice: to give up his truth and live, or die.
So, Mustafa, your first day of freedom, and you bring a riot to our doorstep.
It was your men and the billy clubs that brought on the riot.
Order in the streets must be maintained. Otherwise, anarchy. I'm disappointed to see your presence is just as incendiary as it was 7 years ago. Did your stay on the mountain give you no time for reflection?
Quite a bit, thanks.
Then why do you persist with these treasonous acts and rebellious speeches?
Treasonous? I have only spoken with love.
Oh, only love and flowers, was it? I believe this is yours. Pity the nation that raises not its voice, save when it walks in a funeral, boasts not except among its ruins, and will not rebel until its neck is laid between the sword and the block. Love and flowers. Nothing less than a call to rebellion.
I don't see it that way.
Apparently, we disagree. It would indeed be tragic if rash words from the past prevented you from returning to your beloved homeland.
You mean there's still a chance I may go home?
A chance? A certainty. We are not vindictive. We are not barbarians. Simply do this. Sign this statement that your writings, your teachings, were the product of a misguided youth and are seditious. That you reject them now, they are false, and you hold the state blameless in its duty to preserve the peace, etc., etc.
I can't do that.
Of course you can. Here is your opportunity to be repentant and for us to be magnanimous.
What would I have left if I disavowed all that I believe?
Your life, for one. I remind you, Mustafa, the penalty for treason is death. Oh, fine. Have it your way. I'll give you the night in prison to think it over. Guard!
Later that night, Almitra is lifted up by Halim and Camilla to speak to Mustafa through a barred window. It is in this moment that she regains her voice. Mustafa asks Almitra to retrieve his writings and drawings so that they will live on for future generations, so other people will know his truth. Almitra agrees to do so. While Camilla and Almitra retrieve Mustafa's works, Mustafa is taken in front of a firing squad. Once again, he refuses to sign away his truths and his writings. In this moment, he is surrounded and greeted by a flock of seagulls, that transcendent divinity, ready to take him home. Mustafa does not lament over his death, and instead he celebrates his transformation in the next part of his journey. When you part from your friend, you grieve not, for that which you love most in him may be clearer in his absence.
Look! There he is, Mama!
What? Oh, Almitra. Where?
Mustafa! There!
I'm sorry, my little one. But he's...
No, look! On the ship! See?
I do, Almitra. I do.
Mustafa lives his truth even when faced with humanly death, but death is not the end for Mustafa. It is the awakened Almitra who has gained her voice, who sees this even before her mother does. Death is not an end, merely a transformation. While it is unlikely we will ever be faced with the choice Mustafa had to make, a movie like this prompts many questions, such as what is truth? What is my truth? How important is living the truth to me? Unity principle number 5 asks us to practice our truth every single day. Knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are not enough. A person must also live the truth that he or she knows. This principle challenges us to strive for and live our truth in every moment. Truth with a capital T, big truth, can mean a lot of things. To Kahlil Gibran, truth is something we all inherently possess. We know it when we hear it, when we see it, and feel it. In his book, The Prophet, Gibran writes, "And a man said, 'Speak to us of self-knowledge.' And he answered, saying, 'Your hearts know in silence the secrets of the days and the nights, but your ears thirst for the sound of your heart's knowledge. You would know in words that which you have always known in thought. You would touch with your fingers the naked body of your dreams. And it is well you should. The hidden wellspring of your soul's needs must run and rise, murmuring to the sea. And the treasure of your infinite depths would be revealed to your eyes. But let there be no scales to weigh your unknown treasure. And seek not the depths of your knowledge with staff or sounding line. For self is a sea boundless and measureless. Say not, I have found the truth, but rather I have found a truth. Say not, I have found the path of the soul. Say rather, I have found the soul walking upon my path. For the soul walks upon all paths. The soul walks not upon a line, neither does it grow like a reed. The soul unfolds itself like a lotus of countless petals. As humans, we seek the truth within us and the truth we see reflected in others. Truth is not an end goal, only to be grasped at the finality of our journey. Truth is an experience. Truth is the journey. The Dhammapada tells us that by investigating truth, by experiencing truth, we are on the path to end suffering. By faith and moral purity, by effort and meditation, by investigation of the truth, by being rich in knowledge and virtue, and by being mindful, destroy this unlimited suffering. But the truth is not something we can just read in books or hear in a lecture and fully understand. We can understand little truths, but truth, with a capital T, big truth, must be experienced, for it is beyond the ability for words to express. The Dhammapada also tells us, you yourself must strive. The Buddhas only point the way. Each individual must strive to understand the truth for themselves. We are each on our own journey. Many may propose spiritual freedom is an end goal, something in religion that they call a soteriological goal. Something that we achieve when we reach the destination. But others, such as former Unity Minister Eric Butterworth, proposes that spiritual freedom is achieved when you live the truth you know. Truth certainly cannot and should not ever be crystallized and put in a package or a bottle and say, this is the truth. Truth is an ultimate. Truth cannot be defined. We always see but a small fragment of the whole, and the whole is nonverbal. Because the truth is not where one has been, the truth is a reaching. We never really find it. We only know when we're on the quest. We only know it when we're reaching. Butterworth tells us that truth, like love, is not something to be found or to be possessed. It is to be experienced. As the characters of Al-Mitra and Mustafa demonstrate, spiritual freedom comes from a truth informed by love and a love informed by truth. We reach for the truth when we live with love. Namaste.